first unused thing I want to show is our beloved heat meter. In the desert playtest build, we can see the first revision of it. It has 4 heat levels that show as the heads of pizza boys, a selector switch that points to the heat level that the player has right now, and on the bottom of the switch there is the heat meter itself. So let's test it. The heat meter works very simply. The more you kill, the more points you get, but also enemies will get their special attacks. When the heat meter is on its first level, it will give us 10 points for killing enemies. When the heat meter is on its second level, it will give us 20 points for killing enemies. But what makes this heat meter special is that numbers would change their colors. When the heat meter is on its third level, it will give us 30 points for killing enemies. This time, the color of numbers will be orange. When the heat meter is on its fourth level, it would give us 40 points for killing enemies, and the color of numbers is now red. After all levels of heat meter, if player gets more heat meter points, the meter will increase, but the player won't get anything, except that meter will get skulls on it, and even if it's filled completely, it will stop increasing. And here is a tablet for more details of how many points you will get for each combo and heat level. Now, you will ask, how do you get heat meter points? The first way is by killing baddies. The second way is after killing a baddie, and while you have a combo, do a taunt. And both ways give you +5 heat points to your meter. And the final way to get +50 heat points is by collecting pineapple toppin. But this is left over from desert build, so McPig didn't really think about giving players so many heat points by collecting toppins. Also, here are all enemy speeds in different heat meter levels.
Set radio.
Also, cheese slime is the only enemy that has a special attack for the heat meter. And it is very similar to what we got in the April 2021 build, except that he does that small jump when he is attacking. Now let's talk about not really important stuff about this heat meter. This is the only heat meter that tells the player when it goes up or down. But this heat meter also has some bugs. First is that after being stunned, enemies immediately recover their default speed. Next bug is exiting to the main menu keeps the heat meter at its current value instead of resetting. And the final bug is a visual one. Look at the heat meter. Yes, it just skips like 1/4 of the meter and goes to next level. And it's very visible when the heat meter is filled completely. You can clearly see how it tries to go further but immediately goes back. And this is not the last thing about this heat meter, because now we will need to use. So in the code of the Mach 3 effect there are some hidden parts of code that UMT doesn't see. Some in the creation code. and some in the draw code. After re-adding the code, at the first level of the heat meter, the Mach 3 effect will be invisible. At the second level of the heat meter, the Mach 3 effect will be yellow. At the third level of the heat meter, the Mach 3 effect will be orange. And finally, at the fourth level of the heat meter, the Mach 3 effect will be red. Also, here is the cut part about the heat meter from Things of the Week 4. Of course, some stuff that was said by McPig was never implemented in any builds, like enemies jump away from you when running at them or lose more points. That's all about the heat meter, so let's move back to the boss build. The first unused thing from the code is the second attack of the cheese dragon. He will spawn random enemies from the first floor levels in random positions above the player. And this attack was later reused for the unused object enemy rain. Also, this object spawns enemies every 2.5 seconds and can't spawn pizzas. But the version of the enemy rain shown in Things of the Week 2 is different by two things: enemies spawn every second, and it actually can spawn pizzas. Another cut thing is the top-in warrior's attack move. In Western build source code shows that they could attack only when enemies are on screen and have a cooldown between attacks every 3.33 seconds. If top-in warrior hits the enemy, it will stun them, but the big problem with it is not only needing the enemy on screen to make them attack, but the player must be on the same surface as the enemy. Also, if you get caught by Pizza Face, the game will crash if you re-add their attack move. That means that this mechanic was cut early in development before Pizza Face was added. Furthermore, top-in warrior attack move worked very differently in Things of the Week 2. First, you could spam their attack and not need an enemy to activate it. Second, they could insta-kill enemies. About other stuff, their attack can destroy blocks. Their attack doesn't interact with the cheese dragon. nor with Weenie Squire. But again, things of the week 2 show us that their warriors attack could defeat the Squire. And they actually could interact with a dragon. Another unused object in this build is the pizza shield. It works very simply. You take it, and you can get one hit without losing points. But after one hit, you lose it. The interesting thing is that if a player starts the time attack, the pizza shield will destroy itself. But this is not all about the shield because it has one unused sprite. The sprite's name suggests that the shield wasn't originally intended to break after a single hit, it might have been able to block multiple attacks or perhaps projectiles. Next unused object is Aggressive Spawner. Basically, he just spawns 4 enemies at the time and red. But after checking the object's code, I found out that originally the spawner was meant to spawn 5 enemies. But due to some problems with the code, it spawns 4. And final unused object is Pepper Pizza. It is very similar and different from the final game. The skin of the character becomes red, but also for 16.66 seconds the player will have an instant Mach 4 speed. And after the timer is out, he goes back to normal. Also, there is a small bug. You can't change the palette if using the Pepper Pizza, or you will lose your previous palette if you pick it up. And this is almost everything about unused content. The last thing I want to show is the early layout of Dragon Lair itself. But I will use my recreation to show you how different it was. And if you ask me why I showed only the first 4 rooms, I will tell you because only 4 of them were shown in Things of the Week 2, and it is unclear how the other rooms' layouts looked. But one thing I can say for sure is that originally there were no points. There were fewer enemies, and the enemies themselves didn't give points, and, most importantly, there were fewer spikes. And here's the concept of the top-in warriors. Originally they had more samurai-based design, and later different designs, like more medieval or even Rambo designs. And this is all about those 2 builds. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.